grind out an over hour-long game of basically giving Zedek Storm the runaround and disengaging from their Pantheon Sivir engages in order to win that game, because they had a top lane Lee Sin with no teleport, so they had no map pressure. And so they just had to run around the map, slowly picking up inhibitors and barons and mind gaming.
That was a fun game.
It was very weird to watch, very weird. And NaJin Whiteshield played it well. They read the situation beautifully, and they knew what they had to do, but it took a long time and a number of objectives, taking one and then like giving up one in return and then taking two, giving up one in return, taking two. And so they eventually wore down Zedek Storm, but it was risky, and they, in the first game, they picked kind of all losing lanes, even though they had a good team composition. So they can't do that against SKTK, because K is a team that will not be forgiving like Zedek Storm.
Not at all.
So,
and we are seeing that Lulu picked up right away, still very high priority. Of course, Faker got to have some fun with Lulu in the first week or second week of Masters, and now he's been sticking with that champion. And Thresh given to Casper, so it's giving a comfort pick to that support. Also, Lucian's been banned against Zephyr, so instead of Caitlyn, which he used to be really known for, he's been shining on Lucian lately. So T1K decides to just ban that one out. That's going to give them Sivir. Are we going to see another Vayne coming out from Piglet?
They have a good composition with Thresh and with Lulu for Vayne, so that wouldn't surprise me. If they do pick Vayne, they'll probably last pick it, however.
Yeah, exactly. I would wait for that. So we'll see. Are we going to see another Trundle from Impact? We've seen it succeed and fail. So it's been back and forth. Aatrox, Impact also one of the players who began playing Aatrox, of course, with some experience also at Worlds. But he looks like he wants to go back to the standard Shyvana, not surprising, Lee Sin or Evelynn. Bengi playing that aggressive Evelynn build we've seen come to light recently, especially started off by none other than Diamond Crocs in the EU scene.
So we'd be remiss if we didn't mention that SKTK is in the middle of their biggest slump since October.
Their biggest slump, which was one loss.
Since October.
And they've had to deal with this terror. That is true. Since October, they haven't dropped a single set. And we saw it on their faces when they lost the champions. They just couldn't believe. They had to remember what this felt like. They had to reach back into their memory.
What is losing?
Yeah. Faker and Piglet's faces were quite confused. And we're seeing a Shen pick up from Impact. Impact seems to be experimenting a lot recently.
Well,
we've seen him.
Shen is good into Renekton in lane. So that's why we've seen the KT teams doing this as well.
Right,
as
yeah,
a
that is
Renekton
true.
Counterpick. Now, I'm not the biggest fan of this, because even though Shen can survive that early pressure from Renekton, Renekton still has that big chance to cancel the Shen ultimate coming down. However, it must be said, we see the old combo of Eve Shen right here. And when Eve flanks and Shen comes in, basically she gets a massive shield from her own ult and from the Shen ult. She gets into your backline immediately, and then Shen appears like a jerk in your carries. So,
yeah, it's been a while since I've seen this, yes.
So it's really a lot on save to make sure that Shen can't show up. So that's going to be, and then also with the Lulu combo coming in too, if they get the taunt chained into the wild growth, like that is an obscene CC combo into your back line from SKT T1K. So this is a little bit of an older school comp right now. We're talking like mid-season 3. Wow, that would be super weird.
You know
my, it's happening.
You know Piglet though. He can't just sit around and watch other AD carries set the meta for him. He has to be in the he has to be at the front line. He started the Vayne thing. Now Prey's like, well, I'm gonna bring back Twitch just because no, you aren't. I'm gonna bring it back too. This will be fun. Now there is
double invisibility.
Exactly, double invisibility. So that's gonna pressure Whiteshield to use so many pink wards.
This is actually crazy. If they can pull off an Eve Twitch flank with a Shen port and a wild growth, that is going to be one of the most beautiful combos I have ever seen.
A new true Wombo combo. We'll have to see. Now here we are looking at K's lineup once again. We just talked about that combination, and to round it out, it is going to be Thresh for Casper in that support role.
I really wonder if Piglet's been practicing Twitch or not. I don't something tells me that he probably hasn't, but at the same time, this is Masters. The coaches are in the booze. So in order to counter this, NaJin White Shield going for a winning lane with Renekton, and then they've got a beautiful 4-man siege with Sivir, Karma, Nidalee, and Elise. 4 ranged champions, a ton of poke in the mid game. So Shield, we know them for loving to siege down the outer turrets early. This is a comp that will really allow them to do that.
Well, here we go. Set 2 between NaJin, EMFire, and SK Telecom T1. We do have NaJin in the lead as Black Sword took down S. Can White Shield get another win against T1K to continue T1K's slump and give them the match win for today's matchup? Or is T1K going to tie it up to bring it down to the Masters match to see who takes the W on the rankings? We'll have to find out as we go into set number 2 between NaJin White Shield and SK Telecom T1K. To 2.
I'm so excited. Okay, let me talk about this because I'm really,
Monty's like shaking at the desk.
I'm like shaking in excitement right now because I love games like this. Basically, both teams have kind of gone all in on a composition. SK Telecom needs that flank wombo combo, right? They've got the double invisibility. They have that Shen Eve. And that's really good against a siege composition. Of course, that's how you beat siege comps. The most effective way is to get the flank in. And NaJin have gone so hard into pure siege with Nidalee, Sivir, and Karma, but they have great disengage, right? They have 2 speed boosts.
Oh, they do.
With Sivir and Karma. So, if they can ward their flanks properly, they should be able to siege. But it's all about SK Telecom finding that angle to come onto the flank. So this is going to be like a really weird game of NaJin trying to set up for a siege and SK Telecom just poking around the sides, trying to find that one point without a ward into it, slipping in there and getting behind so that the disengage from Gorilla and Zephyr can't happen. So this is, I'm just so excited for how this game is going to play out strategically.
Monty's like a kid before Christmas. He just can't wait for this game to start. Now, we did see Gorilla actually went for the Mastery to give him that shield at the start, of course, every time upon Resurrection, and then goes for the Spell Thief. So using that Mastery shield.
So the question, okay, looks like they are going to be going for the 2v2 because the...
Whoa there, Impact. Now, T1K tried to check if they could go for an invade. They didn't find it, and so they are going to now just go ahead for the steal. It's going to be a red buff.
That's risky.
Change. Oh, okay, there we go. There's
Casper did a little poke damage, and Casper has been forced to take Death Sentence to level 1. Yeah, so that's not good for SK Telecom. In fact, they're not going to clear out that red. Too much of a danger with Bengi sitting around there.
Yeah, of course, Gorilla also doesn't want to
Bengi also didn't hit level 2, so it looks like he had to share some experience right there with Piglet and Casper. So he's going to be a little bit behind. Watch got full XP from the red camp.
Yeah, and Gorilla did have to use that Mastery shield he got to clear out one of the goblins. Wasn't able to clear the camp yet. Bengi just goes in and takes Wraiths to give him that second level to go ahead and take his own blue. So just buff switches.
Oh, okay, that's what happened. Yeah, you're right.
Oh, yeah, he did go for the Goblin, but there we go. Gorilla also forced to flash. Casper going full aggressive.
That was a bit bold. So flash for flash right there, seeing if they can pull anything off. There's the poke coming on to Piglet.
Piglet narrowly dodges the second burst from that Q of Karma. Still taking a lot of poke directly, but Piglet just playing really aggressive. Meanwhile, Goong taking a ton of damage from Faker. And needs to watch out.
Goong's Nidalee was sensational last night, and Goong was not really any threat there. He had barrier still, so it's Nidalee. Nidalee is going to probably lose the lane early, especially against something. I mean, Lulu does relatively well against Nidalee, and Bengi going for a little bit of a steal right here, and will actually get the smite out.
There we go. Yeah, Watch tried to save his smite, but Bengi gonna go ahead and take that one away. So junglers just poking fun at each other, not real much other movement. Top lane, I'm sure, has just been a shove against Shen, and Shen just trying to farm under tower, which is just fine. He's a little bit behind, but not a huge issue. Now, Goong is pretty low on mana, so Faker just willing to trade auto for auto. Lulu, of course, has that Hicks passive. for the extra damage. Now Bengi going for a gank in top. Can they blow a summoner from Save?
Save is level down right now.
Yeah, there we go. Going for the taunt right away. Now Save does have Slice and Dice. He gets the first Slice onto Impact, so he goes for the second Dice. Bengi just wants to get the flash, and he gets it in that top lane. Goong, meanwhile, has to use Barrier to block against that Ignite and go home. So this is going to give Faker a chance to push forward and get ahead in levels and CS. Meanwhile, bottom has just still been a trade festival back and forth. Both teams now back to full health. Just pushing back and forth. Very even right now in this bottom lane. Both supports flashes still not even halfway through their cooldowns. Of course, fairly long cooldown.
I'm a bit surprised that Zephyr and Gorilla haven't been able to push harder in this lane so far. They've been playing it pretty cautiously back towards their own turret. They need to get pressure down, though, because NaJin, their composition is going to be good is the faster they can actually get out and start rotating with these sieges.
Okay, Faker gonna come up top too. Bengi gonna wait. Now he is gonna run in right away. He sees Watch. Watch gets the cocoon and then able to jump through. Impact gonna go in and start tanking tower first. Flash blown from Watch. So you get two summoners actually. Ignite also onto Impact. And here's Faker. Both members of NaJin have to walk away from their tower. Faker tries to get the kill. Oh! Bengi barely lives and Impact goes in for the kill with his flash and then dashes out.
Wow,
Woo!
Save got a good heal there on Kuldamik. That was a very close dive from SK Telecom, but they managed to pull it up. Goong just trying to farm up here in the mid lane and catch back up with Faker right now. He had to get another Doran's ring on Nidalee, actually. Couldn't afford that Chalice, so he's been delayed, and he needs that Athenes in order to start sieging in earnest.
Yeah, wow, the Glitterlance almost taking out Save. So nice save by Save for himself, but Watch does go down to a re-initiation from Impact. So first blood going to SKT T1K, giving them that slight edge. Now we do see the Chalice finished for Lulu by Faker, and then going for a pink ward actually. Just wants to deny any extra vision and a lens on Faker. So he wants to deny vision, all sorts of vision from Goong.
Yeah, it'll just help him set up better in the mid lane. No surprise right there. Zephyr and Gorilla disengaging with the Mantra right there with the speed boost. Going to go ahead and take doubles right now. They are falling a little bit behind in terms of CS at the given time. And
just a tad bit. And, you know, I'd say Piglet and Casper, their aggression probably also stemming from the fact that, like you said, Zephyr and Gorilla have to shove. And what better way to stall that than to force them to trade with you so that you can push evenly. And we're looking at the Cutlass coming in for Piglet on Twitch. So he's pretty much on par with where he should be in terms of itemization. Bengi looking for some more gank windows.
Yeah, he can do Dragon right now very easily.
The double pink wards around Dragon. Faker wants to protect these wards. They're going to have to give that one up in the enemy jungle. No, actually, Watch is going to run away. Too scared to have to deal with this Lulu and possibly Bengi.
SKT needs to go for the drag right now, and that's what they're going to do.
Yeah, ping's coming down from NaJin, but they can't do much with that because Zephyr and Gorilla did go back to get their own items. Now Zephyr does come back with a BF sword. A save and Impact trading very efficiently with that Giant Spell and Chain Vest. While Save forced to take that Negatron Cloak because of the extra magic damage coming in from Lulu and Evelyn. Here's a 3-man dive coming in against Impact. Impact is level 6, so he's pretty tanky with that Giant Spell. He's just trying to live as long as possible, and a nice dash through to taunt people under the tower. But it was Save still taking tower shots. So Watch and Goong just going to finish that off. Impact did what he could to try to survive. Bengi almost dying to blue buff, trying to leash it for his teammate.
So Goong picking up the first kill for NaJin White Shield here, keeping things relatively even, and a much needed kill as well, given how his lane has been going so far. He needs to be able to get that Chalice to rush that Athenes as fast as he can. And there is a kill on a Karma.
I assume that she just got deleted. Yeah, the hard CC coming in from Thresh.
So they respond to Dragon with a tower of their own. So everything's still about even in this game. Goong just going to clear out the blue buff. That'll be a welcome addition to him in the mid lane.
Oh, nice hook. Of course, Casper, known for his Thresh Play Exhaust, right away to deny that speed boost disengage. And Piglet with the execution from his poison.
Not 6 yet either for Zephyr, so they didn't have the Sivir ultimate to try and turn that one quite around yet.
Goong and Faker just trading in mid. Faker still happy to trade 1v1. He's the one with the chalice for now. Of course, Goong should be able to get that soon enough. Bengi wants to go for the red buff steal. Goong trying to check the brush, doesn't see anything, so just assumes that it's already gone, which it now is. So red buff stolen by Bengi. Now Bengi cleared out his red buff creeps pretty late, so should be spawning quite soon here.
Yeah, Save, they can't really make a play, NaJin's shield, until Save gets up there and gets vision onto Shen, gets close to him so he can cancel that ultimate if necessary. There's the barrier coming out again.
Faker getting the barrier out as they set up for a gank. Bengi and Casper are both nearby, but so is Watch.
A very delayed chalice this game.
Yeah, he hasn't been able to go back yet. There's a cocoon onto Bengi, but there's a lantern. Bengi not able to steal the big wraith.
Good rotation there by Casper to facilitate that, realizing that he could help out with some forward warding from Bengi when there's no one else there in the bottom lane for Piglet. That's just some fantastic teamwork.
Yeah, Piglet's also been able to, of course, stay ahead in CS ever since that kill. So they're pretty happy with that. Now Impact has to deal with a lost tower, of course, after that dive. White Shield going ahead and trading that tower for the dragon.
So the issue, though, is that now that we have Save on Renekton with a very awkward itemization, you see he has Longsword into Spectral Cowl. And with that MR, we could see something similar to what we saw last game, where Piglet simply rotates into his lane and crushes a Renekton.
Well, if anyone's going to rotate top for a kill, it is going to be Piglet. Of course, he's known to do that on Vayne. And they did chase a Save out of their own jungle for T1K, but Save not done just yet. Now, so far, you can still do this because of that Spectre's Cowl, but like you said, what's going to happen when these bottom lanes start roaming or breaking down? Faker going to be spotted on his recall, so he's going to have to walk further away before he goes home and presumably finishes his Athene's Unholy Grail. But delayed once again by Goong. Goong wants to return the favor, delay Faker's build, so Faker has to come back in lane to push this one back out.
Frostfang now up for Gorilla. Most of the Karma players on support here in Korea like to just stick around with that Frostfang build into Talisman or Crucible next. Typically Crucible. You'll probably see a Chalice coming up for Gorilla after this.
Since Casper helping zone out Zephyr and Gorilla. Oh, and there's the flash aggressive play into box. There's the lantern to try to take down Zephyr. Do they have the damage? Spell Shield was blocked by the hook, and Piglet therefore is able to put out full damage, gets the cast slow down on him with the poison. Nice kill.
That's the big threat that this Thresh Twitch lane has always had in League of Legends, is just enormous kill potential. They can all in you so easily with this combination of champions, and Zephyr and Gorilla relatively fragile. They're made for poking, not for these kind of big, and disengage, not for these big confrontations.
Yeah.
And now they both died in this bottom lane, so they're having a really hard time of it. And they, you know, at this point, NaJin White Shield is in a bit of trouble. They're not being able to get their siege on very well. Goong has taken a lot of damage on his turret early.
Yeah, Goong just trying to keep up in CS, but takes so much damage from return. Of course, Nidalee has that heal, but if you have to use all your mana for your heal, then you're not going to do much else. Watch and Gorilla now in mid to try to help Goong out. Faker's been giving him a tough time. Of course, Piglet pretty happy to stay alone now with that lead in itemization. Nice dodges by Faker, back and forth.
But look, they're starting to four-man right now. They know they have to do something. They have to impose their will on their opponents. Faker's nearly out of mana. So this is a good time to do it, even though he does have that Athenes. He will be getting some back relatively soon, but this is a great timing. And they're going to force switch in the mid lane. Now they don't have maybe enough wards on their flanks in order to do this.
Piglet jumping right in with that ambush. There's no pink ward there. Gorilla tried to check a nice poison cast, but Piglet gets caught. But here comes Bengi with the Evelynn ultimate. Save has to come in using Dominus to help with the disengage. So pops that Renekton ult in. Yeah,
Shen ult down as well. The Shen ult came onto Piglet right there, and I'm not sure they're going to be able to save this turret. 5 seconds until Dragon.
Yeah, White Shield, what is their choice? Are they going to go for the tower or the dragon? And how is T1K going to respond?
They still have Sivir ult.
They do indeed. Earlier, they only used the speed buff from Karma. Faker takes a spear to the face, has to use Wild Growth. Lots of ability training, but a nice initiation coming in from Impact with that taunt flash in. There's the exhaust on to save. That's going to be 2 kills for T1K, and that should give them Dragon, although Bengi just took a huge hit from the Nilly Spear. Goong is very low on mana.
Great taunt flash there from Impact. That
was
really crucial, and NaJin really wasn't ready for that either. Spray and pray following up immediately. And probably the better call for NaJin White Shield there was to just try and siege down the tower instead of fool around at the Dragon. But
well, good job to T1K. Impact, like you said, gets the double taunt. Here we go.
Let's take a look at that again. So Faker takes some damage.
Piglet's been ambushed. There we go. There's a poison cast and the double taunt.
So they were focused. What happened right there is they were focused on Piglet, who had just popped out of ambush and gotten the slowdown with his cask. And they weren't looking at Impact, who was coming around with the flash and taunt from the side, catching out way too many people on the front line.
And of course, 4 people caught there in that mess for the spray and pray.
Yeah, we're seeing the same effect as last game, right? Save only had that longsword and a magic resist item against this Twitch, and I think that just because the rest of his team is so squishy right now, we see Watch going for the fast Sork shoes here instead of rushing an Ancient Golem. So he was the only kind of tank force on his team, and when he just melts to spray and pray, what are you going to do?
Yeah.
Everybody else is so squishy. You can't re-engage after that. Shen is standing there.
Yeah, Goong once again going to trade a ton of damage just to clear out that wave. Actually dodges the Glitter Lance with that leap. And all right, here we go. Once again, mid lane is just Faker pressuring Goong until Goong can get help. But Casper's nearby, so is Bengi. Save was looking for a chance. It's not going to be too helpful, though. He shouldn't die because now he also has that Giant Spell to negate even more magic damage. Meanwhile, Twitch does finish that Blade of the Ruined King on top of Azeel and Boots.
Yeah, he had the Blade finish for the last fight. That was a huge part of it. So
he's pretty happy with where he is. Shen also has to finish Sunfire. So T1K pretty much right on track for their itemization. Ready to fight. Like you said, Save probably feeling the most pressure in his item path right now.
Faker what do you do? And it looks like they may be going for a dive right here, actually.
Yeah, they did bring Faker down to half health. Now it is
Lulu, is up again, so Stand United is available should they go in. Piglet just deciding to split push right here.
Just gonna let the minions push it out. No, gonna go and ward, yeah. And here, an initiation trying to come in from Gorilla, but nice Glitter Lance from Faker and a good dodge. Another one from Faker. Faker dodging all the crucial abilities, but he's still at half health, so he needs help at this tower. There's 5 men from White Shield. Like you said, Stand United is up. No one there to block it. Bengi just using his ultimate to help clear the wave and try to force White Shield to back off. Bengi takes a spear to the face. Lantern there in case he needs it. Meanwhile, Impact has been pushing. They haven't needed him yet in this mid lane, so Shen continuing to take down this top tier 1 tower. Piglet has taken the tier 1 in bot and now joining his teammates in mid. Impact should be able to finish tier 1 in top before joining through Stand United should a fight break out or a dive. This
tower, not a lot of ults though with that Evelynn ult down. There's
the Stand United coming in, but he's been stunned. Piglet not able to move forward, so Impact pretty far back. Casper also flash hook, not able to connect as White Shield also flashes away. So White Shield just going to be forced away from that fight. T1K a little bit.
But they saved their towers is the thing.
They did for now. Piglet is ambushed once again. He dodges the skill shot, dodges the cocoon, and then goes for the kill onto Save. They're not able to get the taunt, but still forces the flash out of him. Piglet still putting out tons of damage. Is at half health. Faker takes a spear to the face. So Goong showing once again why his Nidalee was double MVP. T1K has to watch out. 4 members in trouble of a spear execution right now.
Yeah,
Piglet also just blocks that one for his teammate, but that's going to bring him pretty low. Casper also now primed for execution. The ward going to be deleted by White Shield. They can only rely on Goong's mana not regenning fast enough. This is getting pretty scary for T1K. Piglet in a lot of trouble. There's a wild growth. Goong also. Javelin was just on cooldown. Is Bengi going to die? No, there is They held picks from Faker, and now everyone at T1K had to back off at the same time as they were just trying to stall this tower, and that's going to give the tower to NaJin White Shield.
Yeah, this game looking a lot like Game 1 between Shield and Zenix Storm yesterday, just because we saw that same kind of disengage coming in from Shield, where they're basically Zenix Storm tried to Zerg them, Shield kited him out, then re-engaged with the Nidalee, poked everybody off, and got an objective. Now, that's still a 2.5K gold lead for SK Telecom, and SK Telecom did a good job of taking down the outer towers. But the problem is that now there's this big wave in the bottom, and the siege composition from NaJin can just refocus down onto the dragon side of the map, where they'll have an option about whether to go for this dragon, poke them off, or take this tier 1 turret in the bottom lane.
Yeah, and that's exactly where White Shield is walking towards right now. 3 members, Gorilla, Zephyr, and Goon, going to help clear out vision near the Dragon Pit, set some of their own down, ward down from Casper to counteract that, but Goon's going to delete that right away. 4 lenses on both sides right now, so very, very focused on that vision control. T1K actually having more pink wards in their arsenal than NaJin White Shield, which is a bit odd, as Shield is the one dealing with 2 invisible champions. Of course, they do have a pink ward prepped in their jungle in case there's a deep flank coming in from bottom towards mid. And Dragon up in 5. Stand United is up, so T1K once again relying on that split push annoyance, which is pretty much the golden way to play Shen. Trying to dodge the spear leads Bengi to a slow coming in from Karma. And Shen still split pushing. Now there isn't a tower right in front of him just yet, so White Shield still has some time to make their mind up.
SK Telecom has control over all 3 lanes right now, so.
And they're all focused here in bottom, which is just going to give Impact free reign of that top lane. He is getting closer and closer to that tier 2 turret. That's going to pull Save back. And he does have that Sunfire now, so he should be able to help in the team fight, but without him there, White Shield can't really contest anything.
It's a pretty big gamble. Impact is going to be looking for that port, and Save just clearing out that wave. You can see Impact backing off immediately, and that's going to prompt the Dragon just because they know they can turn this into a 5v4 at any time they want. So Shield just giving it up by sending Renekton back up into the top lane. Now here, you have to ask, what do you do? At this point, maybe you actually just clear out the blue buff, and then you all 5 into the tier 2 on the top lane. Just because that's some sort of counterplay when you know where all of them are and you force this Shen back. You make a play into the Shen lane instead, but no, they just give up the Dragon and don't try and take anything at all in response. I think Shield is a little too reluctant this game.
Yeah, they're playing very passive, a bit indecisive, one might say, and they're all going to go back and just get new items before making their next move. So T1K happy to take that Dragon for free and not lose any objectives in return. Faker now, is he going to build towards the Lich Bane or the Death Cap? Most likely Death Cap is what we've seen the switch to, but it's still just a Blasting Wand, so we'll have to wait and see. Meanwhile, Twitch did finish both his level 2 boots and Phantom Dancer, so all the attack he could really hope for at 20 minutes. The attack potential he's got. Elise has that Haunting Guise for Watch on top of the Spirit of the Ancient Golem. And otherwise, pretty standard updates at this time of the game for all positions. Save takes a lot of damage from Faker, as he did have to switch to the Sunfire Cape in the middle here to deal with Prey. Or not Prey, Piglet rather. You know, I see a Twitch in the game and the only person I can think of is Prey. Meanwhile, so White Shield is going to take that bottom tower, but T1K going to respond with that mid. White Shield is going to go for a lane race. They're trying to rely on their pushing power, but T1K not one to lose out on this one. They do have that Twitch with great attack speed. They're going to trade tier 2 for tier 2. Are they just going to go all the way to the inhibitors? I think so. Now they do have save for White Shield to try to defend this inhibitor tower in mid, but he might as well just go down to this dive, which isn't going to be worth it for White Shield. They're going to trade inhibitor for inhibitor. Now is White Shield just going to continue pushing? No, as Impact, Bengi, and Casper are going to head back. Can they get a Nexus turret though? If they can get at least one Nexus turret and back off, it might not be so bad. They are going to get one, and now they have to run away. Look at the disengage, despite the speed coming in from T1K, but a nice dot flash coming in from Impact. Locks down 2 people, eventually gets the kill onto Zephyr. What a chase.
Oh, Piglet, he may be able to clean some of this up too.
This is scary.
They're going to see him and try.
All right, White Shield. Oh.
He still may go for this.
He still just goes stealth for the attack speed. There's the Stand United, but he's going to go down.
Too much damage coming in right there, and a good heads-up flash from Goong over the Dragon Pit in order to finish that off before Shen could get there. So, let's break that down a little bit. Kills going more in favor of SK Telecom, although they did lose at the end there. Their AD carry Piglet, but bottom inhibitor is much more important than mid inhibitor right now because it's the furthest away from Baron.
Indeed, and they also got that.
They got Stand United out as well. So yeah. I have to say, now that I almost called it Prey as well, Piglet has died, we should be getting a little bit of an advantage here for NaJin White Shield, just because it's easier to push out the super minions in the mid lane and keep control over Baron Pit. There is no excuse right now for NaJin White Shield losing Baron control. They need to get out their ward up. They are loaded up with pink wards right now.
I get scared whenever you say there's no excuse for a team to not do something, Monty, because they usually not do it.
And then I've
seen this pattern.
They're rushing.
There we go. They're actually just going to run in towards that Baron Pit.
Yeah, they just need to make the appearance of getting, because look at this.
Yeah,
there's only one Nexus turret, so it's not really optional for SK Telecom to defend this.
T1K.
And this looks so much like NaJin White Shield's game from yesterday. Yeah. It's literally the same.
The Winions are back. Bengi takes the spear to the face. They just need to stall. Impact's back. Yeah, there we go. The turret goes down. Wow. White Shield getting both Nexus turrets by 25 minutes and 30 seconds. Top lane also pushing.
Baron out of this unless there's a miracle play from SK Telecom. Faker,
what
Bengi.
A play. They did send Impact back to clear.
Stand United is not up for another 30 seconds.
No, it's not, and Piglet is now coming down from top. He's actually ditched top lane, so that tier 2 tower now in a lot of trouble, so Piglet has to go back.
They should rush this top tower right now. Now, you have to ask yourself, does NaJin Shield need Baron to win this game? The answer is no. They have the poke advantage, right?
Oh, and Piglet also gets caught, forces the flash out of him. Look at the speed coming in from White Shield.
Yes, this is exactly right. You use Baron as a tool here in order to win the game. You don't need Baron if you're NaJin Shield. You already have the edge from the minion wave pushes. So you use it to bait and give the other team the runaround.
Can I just say, I'm just cracking up at how excited you are by White Shield. You guys have to see this if you're in the arena. It's a ton of fun to just watch Bonnie get all riled up by White Shield making the right moves. I agree, it's fun to watch. And they should get this Baron, unless Bengi comes in. No, there we go. There's the Stand United, but Baron buff already on White Shield. The box is already out from Casper. Bengi taking a ton of damage. So is Piglet. Now they might be able to get Watch. There we go. Save. Just trying to recall. Trying to use Watch as bait to recall back. Not going to work out. So they lose 2 members, but Nexus is now losing health. Little bit by little bit, they're going to try to extend this back as much as possible.
Think that was a good idea.
Zephyr has to use his flash for that one. Yeah, not enough minions to really take down the Nexus anyway. So
Boom is still looking for spears right here on 2 very low members of SK Telecom.
He's jumping in, but he's going to see that pink ward.
Oh no, Faker is here to kill Gorilla.
Oh, Gorilla's just going to go down. Pays for that one. Goong not able to connect to spear. So White Shield actually losing a lot of that Baron buff advantage.
That was not a good call. Well, the Baron buff too, again, in certain ways, why I was kind of against NaJin White Shield going for the Baron. After taking a look at the game last night, Baron is more useful as a tool when it is there with this composition. Because let's talk about it. You have the speed, right? From the Sivir ult, you have the speed from the Karma ult, you're able to move around the map, you've got great siege and poke. So basically, the longer you can now SK Telecom is not distracted anymore. Now they have no reason to leave their base. They can turtle forever. So if the Baron is up, the threat of Baron being taken is actually more potent for NaJin Shield's composition than taking it itself. When there's a chance that you get jumped on like that and get 5v5 by the superior 5v5 of SK Telecom. You want to focus on what your team composition does best and ask yourself, do we even need Baron to win this game? And I really don't believe that NaJin White Shield does.
It's like League of Legends therapy with Monte Cristo. Let's talk League of Legends. Ask yourself, do you really need Baron buff?
Look into yourself. Know the soul of your comp.
There we go. Faker just...
Are you just being greedy?
Probably. That's usually the answer when it comes to Baron. Now we do have Baron still on Goong, which he'll be happy about for the regen. Of course, Zephyr still saved his buff with his flash earlier, so he does have that summoner down. And T1K actually trying to contest, or rather take this dragon, and they should be able to take it pretty quick. Impact's blocking that spear right away, and T1K actually has a lane advantage this time around. Top lane pushing in pretty aggressively, has to send save up there to get rid of that one. Bottom, they haven't been able to push back against T1K to take that inhibitor and leave it open. So T1K, like you said, the game's really turned in their favor for this time period, while White Shield has only 2 members with Baron buff.
Yeah, this is eerily similar to Shield's game last night. They did end up playing it out well in the end in terms of dodging their opponents, and that's what they're going to have to do right now, is dodge SK Telecom T1K, because in a straight-up fight, they're going to have a very difficult time winning this game.
Now it is scary because T1K, one of those teams, you know, the reason they're champions, Piglet looking for a possible assassination, not going to get it. The reason they're labeled as champions is not only because they are good, which they are, but they prove themselves by saying if you get a lead and you're not able to close it up right away, they go into Super Saiyan mode and just come back with all the rage to shut you out. We've seen this countless times at Worlds, in Champions, and are we going to see it again? We'll have to wait and see. White Shield still, you know, they're in no rush. They just have to slowly push up towards this bottom inhibitor again in time for Baron, and then once again use that as just a mind game tool.
Yep. And I mean, Shield has to look for the possibility of getting picks right here. They have to look for opportunities to use their mobility in order to backdoor this inhibitor, because they've got to figure out some way to get this in him.
Oh, Casper trying to get the catch onto the enemies, and White Shield is going to try to escape, but Zephyr gets caught by Faker. There's the wild growth to keep him on lockdown. They delete Zephyr right away, and Faker going to escape with his own whimsy speed buff. They also get saved in the back line. Piglet, meanwhile, almost gets killed unseen, and Bengi needs to watch out for that too. Goong has really been playing well this game once again, doing his job, going in when he needs to in Cougar form, and then escaping so he can continue disengaging with spears and finding the right targets. But doesn't really have an option now. Casper also pretty low.
Be careful right here. There's an execute on that Elise.
And T1K trying to get rid of this inhibitor. They do get it. Now Piglet does find Elise. And also the inhibitor. Can they get the kill? No, they have to disengage. They don't want to get caught out by spears following them all the way back to their base.
Impact doing a relatively good job of absorbing some of those spears, however. And yeah, just a great engage there from SKTK. They really fooled NaJin Shield, because the Shen engage that time came on Faker, who flashed over a wall with Stand United on him in order to focus down Zephyr. So a creative way to do that. That's definitely not what you're thinking about when you're. It's a little bit of a mind game, because basically SK Telecom K knows what NaJin Shield is expecting in terms of that engage. So NaJin Shield is trying to get far away from, you know,
here we go.
Basically Bengi right there. But here's Faker showing up and chasing down the flash over the wall. Now Shen turning around right there, but even so, Faker able to wild growth himself and get enough burst damage with that Lich Bane down onto Zephyr. The
save, of course, was caught back because of that.
And we're back into siege mode.
All right, so White Shield still able to play their combos. They're now all alive once again. Just need to find good targets for that spear. Faker wants to delete that pink ward. He's not going to get it. Also, a lot of other wards here for White Shield. Here comes Piglet.
Goong low on mana.
Yeah, Goong has had that issue recently because he's really the only one trying to whittle them down. Save and Zephyr are in a little bit of trouble. T1K uses their own speed buff to try to catch up Faker, of course, in the front lines with Whimsy.
Between both talismans, or like Talisman and Karma speed and Sivir speed and Whimsy, this game is pretty hilarious to watch.
It's very, very action-packed. Now Baron's up in 8 seconds.
It's also a testament to NaJin Shield's kind of big picture strategy that they're 10 kills behind, but still really definitely in this game.
Oh yeah, wow.
They only have 2 kills.
I haven't noticed that.
Goong has 2 kills. That's it.
But they do have 9 towers thanks to, of course, the Nexus turrets going down. All right, so White Shield, they definitely don't want to lose control of Baron vision.
At a certain point here, NaJin White Shield is going to have to try to base race. If they don't find any sort of angle, actually getting a Lich Bane onto Goong and trying to storm the base when there are no Nexus turrets is perhaps going to be their most viable strategy.
And T1K going to go right for Baron. They notice that a lot of White Shield has backed off. Baron is going to be going down pretty quick. Goong trying to find the right targets. He's not going to get it. T1K uses their talisman to try to stay out, but there's the steal coming in from Watch. Masters is just a tournament of Baron steals. Save trying to block off a lot of that damage. He is eventually going to get caught. White Shield should really just sacrifice him if need be. He tries to escape. Oh, and actually Goong finds Piglet among all those members, and Casper also almost going down.
Shields himself, but there's
White
the speed
Shield
coming
is going
in.
to chase through Goong, not able to get the pounce, but there we go. Zephyr now comes
Faker
in.
streaking around the
is
side.
going to get snared, but a nice taunt into Wild Growth. It's a tight 3v3. There's Stand United onto Bengi, and T1K is actually going to finish off the fight despite the Baron buff onto White Shield. What just happened, Monty?
This game is crazy.
Wow.
It's a very good game.
No, it's a lot of fun, and I'm just going to go ahead and say this. Well, let's watch the replay first. Now, Piglet didn't take much damage before. There's a perfect Baron steal from Watch. The timing on that impeccable.
Yeah,
nice
Zeph
boomerang
got a
blade.
really nice boomerang blade there as well. So there's a bit of kiting that comes in right
I
here.
want to find the spear.
How does that hit Piglet?
Where?
Okay, so he gets hit by the boomerang blade.
Bengi just walks out of the way to kill Piglet. Now here, where they go back in, Goong tries to get Casper, but he actually misses his pounce, which does allow Casper to use Flay before going down. Spear also not connecting onto Bengi, and this was a brilliant play where Faker waits for the taunt back in, hadn't used his Wild Growth, and then Stand United onto Bengi. Just the undying T1K crew. Okay. So many shields.
So Inhibitor's back up in mid lane right now for NaJin White Shield, so we don't have any super minions on the map. SK Telecom has just taken a dragon, so they're maintaining a 5K gold lead.
Wow. I believe we've had 5+ Baron steals in Masters so far. It's the most I've seen in a month.
It's a lot. It's a lot of Baron steals in this tournament.
It's crazy.
Hero Watch right there.
All right, well, things have calmed down. Baron buff's all gone despite the steal, and both teams back to status quo. Faker.
Piglet has to be very careful of the boomerang blade poke with the spear as well, because that just destroyed him.
The Last Whisper and Bloodthirster, of course, now extra BF Sword.
Yeah,
is
the Void Staff and Last Whisper on that combo is just going to melt Piglet. In fact, Piglet would probably do better at this point getting a Veil instead of trying to build into an Infinity Edge right now.
Yeah, just negating at least one of those spells, because he's going to stay back anyway once he gets poked, so he has time to regen that shield.
Well, his team isn't really lacking damage either, so Faker trying to solo Zephyr a little bit right there.
He does have a lot of damage. He has that Lich Bane. Now there's the attack speed coming in from Piglet. T1K can get this inhibitor very easily. White Shield way too scared when they actually get counter siege, because if they don't siege, what can they do?
Goong's lack of blue buffs this game have been enormous as well.
He's always been below half mana. That's been really rough on White Shield. So they lose their middle inhibitor. They haven't ever been able to go back to this bottom inhibitor because the timing of it worked out where they had to now contest Baron again. And when it turns into that situation, it's actually not so advantageous that it's the bottom inhibitor open. White Shield, are they looking for a surround onto Impact?
They're making a play onto Impact. This is the good call right here.
Impact just going to start running away.
He's going to try and ult out more than likely.
I would if I were him. Although the members of White Shield are pretty far. There we go. Yeah. He's actually just going to ult mid as Faker starts storming towards the White Shield base, and there's the Penta recall from White Shield.
That's good, though. Getting the Stand United out gives them a little bit of peace and quiet for the next few minutes. So not a total loss right there from White Shield, and the correct call when you're playing Chen. You have to make plays onto the Shen when Stand United is up. Faker here, a major threat though. He's got so much damage with that Lich Bane.
Wow. He just chunked down that tower, alone tanking it with that help picks. Good damage onto Goong. The Whimsy allowing him to dodge all these skill shots. Working towards that 100 KDA once again with 6-0 and 8. Faker, not a man to give up.
The dream is alive.
The dream is alive. All right, White Shield, they know that this tower is the next focus. And Watch actually gets caught by Piglet. Gonna have to use that Cocoon to get away. But that means they also used On the Hunt. And that's just a quick one hit from Faker's Lich Bane to take down that tower. Erase the ward while you're at it. Now, Bengi's split pushing top. Impact, without that Stand United, is actually just gonna help cover a lot lot of that poke coming in against Piglet and Faker.
This is really good because if you're basically without Impact being able to come in, without that tankiness, there's a big risk of you just getting rushed by Sivir and Karma and the speed that that offers in a 5v4 with Renekton in the front line. So you have to be very careful. So I like what they're doing in terms of switching up their split pusher into Evelynn instead so that they can at least disengage with Shenton in the front line if they have to.
All right, so T1K now the ones sieging. They haven't been hit by spears in a long time, which is going to be frustrating for Goong. That's really what's kept White Shield alive. And T1K has been much more aware about where those spears are flying in from. And there we go. There's actually the speed to push them back. Casper forcing them away with that hook. So right if he didn't catch him because they got the tower. And there's also the Dominus pop from Save as he's in a 1v1 with Impact. And then Bengi using his ultimate to force White Shield even further back, trying to get this bottom inhibitor. Impact taunts forward just to keep them even further away. All this zoning coming in from T1K.
Casper's
a
dead,
nice
though.
catch by Goong. The box was used. Now Impact goes back in to try to taunt them for the spray and pray. Piglet not finding a kill just yet. Watch dives in to try to execute Piglet. Barely lives, and a taunt flash forward by Impact helps secure the kill for Faker. A double kill. T1K looking to actually finish the game. Stand United is back up on Piglet. Look at that massive shield with the help of Pigs. And T1K, can they power through? They might be able to. All the Piglet really needs to watch out. There's the taunt. And Bengi gonna help come in, put out some damage. Impact picks up that kill. 40 seconds on Goong coming back up. T1K with a nice closeout in this game too.
I really like how aggressively they played. You know, I'm sure they saw that game last night, and if there was one fault from Zenix Storm, it's that they didn't push the inhibitor towers hard enough. When they had the superior 5v5, they played a little bit too scared. And even though that team fight was very close, Piglet, Bengi, and Impact got extremely low in that fight, and Faker actually died at the end right
That's
there.
why he's not happy. He would have been happy if he was 9-0-9, but
yeah, he did get killed by Watch.